Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our second week of music theory. I hope that you've all had a really good weekend and that we're all ready to return to our now third week of virtual school. And even though I'm not with you right now, I could see and feel all of your eyes roll. What we're going to do now that we are returning to music theory is we're going to focus on intervals. Now, I told you last week, intervals are the distance between any two notes in music. So the distance or the space between them. Specifically, really well illustrated by looking at a keyboard, and you can visually see how far notes are from each other. So what I have here is just a really simple um, little thing to show different kinds of scales and arpeggios that I created on flat. I am going to go ahead and play just the very beginning of this, the first two lines that we see here, which by now I hope we can recognize is the C major scale up and down, and also the C major arpeggio up and down. Now I learned last week that when I am screen recording like this and I flip back and forth between windows, you keep seeing the window that we started with. So I'm about to open up Google Chrome to play this music on flat, and I know that you won't be able to see me switch to Chrome, but it is exactly this. So I'm going to flip over to Chrome. Just follow along with your eyes reading this music as I play the scale and arpeggio. That should be by now a very familiar sound for us. Now, what we're going to do with the C major scale is we are going to actually label the distance of all of these notes from each other, therefore measuring the steps between each note in the scale. We're also going to measure the distance of each note from this first note. So we're going to start by just looking at the steps we have. Now, this is something that we've done before, where right now we can pull up this keyboard, which I have highlighted the notes that are in the C major scale with us. I am going to go through this very quickly because at this point we should be pretty good at looking and seeing if we have major seconds or minor seconds. So we're going to start with C, and we have to determine from C to D if that's a major second or a minor second. A minor second would go to the very next note on the keyboard, but a major second would skip exactly one note. We see here we're going white key to a white key, and we're skipping one in the middle. So C to D is a major second. So I'm going to come back to this right here. I'm going to just type in between the C and D, I'm going to type capital M2. Remember, in music, we like to use capital letters when we're talking about major things and lowercase letters when we're talking about minor things. So let me flip back here. Next step, we have to go from D to E. We can see that we're going to skip exactly one note. So that is another major second. I'm going to write capital M2 for major second between D and E. On the keyboard, though, now we're going still from a white key to a white key, but there's no black key that we're skipping. E to F, that is just a minor second. That's a small little step. We might call it a half step. A half step or a minor second, we're going to mark with a lowercase m and a 2. Moving on, we're going to go from F to G. We can see we're going to skip one note. That is another major second. Not with a Q like that. G to A is the next step. We have G up to A. We are skipping one, so that is another major second. Again, without a Q, because I have dumb flat fingers. From A to B, we can see that we're skipping exactly one note. We have yet another major second. And finally, from B to C, again, we're going from one white key to another, but there's no black key to skip, so that's the very next note. So B to C, that's a minor second. That's why we have that strong pull up to C when we're going up the scale. It would sound really weird for us to go up a scale and then just stop right before we get to that top note. And in fact, let me go ahead and play that for you. So I'm going to hopefully make you kind of wiggle in your seats. You're probably going to hopefully want a little bit more than what I play. I hope that that feels uncomfortable because really what we want to hear is this. We really want to get back up to that C. So what we've done right now is we've labeled all the steps in the C major scale. And this pattern of steps is what makes any scale any major scale a major scale. We have major second, minor second, then three major seconds in a row, and then a minor second. If you think back to our fundamentals of music unit back in January, we had whole, half step, whole, half step. That is what a major scale is. So anytime we have a major scale, we know the steps in order are going to be this exactly. Two major seconds in a minor second, and then three major seconds in a minor second. So that is how we measure each of the steps in the scale. Now what I want to show you at this point is I'm going to show you the distance of each of these notes from where we started. So C is our starting place here, and we are going to label how far the note D is from C, how far the note E is from C, and so on until we get back up to C. So let me just jump up here. We don't have to talk about how far C underneath the staff is from C underneath the staff. We're going to go ahead and start with D, which we've already just looked at, and we know that that is a major second away from C. Now, we had a second, now we have a third. We've talked about in our scales last week that E is going to be a major third away from C. Remember, we have C to D and then a major second above that, so we have a major third between C and E. Capital M3. I told you last week that we have a perfect fourth, which we're going to label with a capital P4 for F. I'm going to stop flipping back and forth between the piano and the music. We have perfect fifth is G. A is a major sixth above C. B is a minor, a major seventh above C. And finally, that octave, the next C up, is a perfect eighth, measured or marked with a capital P8. So we have in a major scale, the notes from the first note are a major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, and perfect eighth, or an octave, above the starting note. If you pay attention right here, you will see every single interval from the first note in a major scale is either major or perfect. We don't have any minor step, or we don't have any minor intervals from C. We have minor intervals down here from one note to another in the scale, but all the notes in a major scale are either major or perfect above that first note.